I'm loving life in the Bay Area, running San Francisco's first ever cookie dough bar. Life is crazy, and adulting is hard. But what if, just for a few moments, you could be transported back to your childhood, sneaking bites of cookie dough in the kitchen? At Doughp, we serve nostalgia by the scoop. We're here for the big kid inside of all of us. However, we're anything but childish. 27 to 35% net income ratio.
I don't think I've ever met a more sophisticated store owner in my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as you guys saw, I was on Shark Tank. It aired last Sunday. There are 45,000 entrepreneurs that try out every year, and about 120 will make it on a season. So pretty surreal odds are against you going up for that, just like many of you hearing the statistics about how many businesses fail each year, and it never quite seems like odds make us feel very warm inside. But I went and I did it. I stood in front of these 5 sharks, and while they all went out for various reasons, mostly relating around cookie dough not being healthy and not wanting to support a product that isn't healthy for you, eye roll happening a little bit there. Dessert will always be around. But despite that, I still went on, and within 6 months actually opened up the location I was on raising money for on the Las Vegas Strip. So testament to going out and making it happen no matter how many people tell you no. You guys heard a clip in there from Barbara. I mean, we just had some amazing compliments commending me as an entrepreneur. And so when there's still reasons why someone wants to go out or is going to say no to you, always try and find the light that they did see and what they saw positive in. The public has responded really amazingly. I was able to share some of my personal journey from sobriety to Shark Tank, as they mentioned. Got to share a little bit of that on there, and the notes that I've been receiving from people who my story has touched makes it all worth it. Deal or no deal, for one person to feel a little bit of warmth or that they're a little less alone. Absolutely worth hearing no from 5 incredibly wealthy people. So I want to take a step back and show you how I wound up pitching my heart out to these 5 sharks on Shark Tank and going in front of some 8 million viewers last Sunday. It was a little bit of a different journey, but I hope that I can, one, inspire you guys to potentially take a similar path, and 2, give you some pro tips on entrepreneur life. This is me. So I was born in Dallas, but raised in Sacramento, and I've got a family who can agree on one thing: we all really love food. I am a huge sweet fan, hence the chocolate cake or whatever I've got on my face there. This never ended. Got the nickname Monster Baby as a child, and they still yell that across the room today to get my attention. Had amazing women in my life growing up who spent a lot of time with me in the kitchen. My mom, my stepmom, and this woman right here, my Nana, all amazing bakers. And I just had some one-on-one time learning from the best on how to make sweets. And regardless of how many times they asked me if I wanted to help with dinner or breakfast or lunch, I said I want to make cookies or make dessert, and that's what we did pretty often. So early in my high school years, I think it was the summer after my freshman year of high school, neighbor came over and knocked on the door and asked my dad, would Kelsey want an internship at Intel? He says, yes, she would. And yells up the stairs, Kelsey, you're going to work at Intel, come down here. And sure enough, I started at 16 as an intern at Intel, and it was an amazing opportunity to really get into the corporate world. I feel like I kind of grew up in a cubicle, if you will. Got to learn from some amazing people making incredible business decisions and watch how they chose what they chose and made strategies, and just got a firsthand view at that. But along that journey, there was a lot that wasn't so sweet inside and underneath. The pressure that I was putting on myself to be perfect and be all on all the time, get those great grades, have the perfect job. I was sort of looking in other areas to quiet this really intense mind that I had and the anxiety that I was facing, and kind of unable to even put a word on it or understand what I was feeling. I couldn't have said back when I was 13, 14, 15 that it was anxiety that was taking over me, but alcohol quieted everything for me, and I was abusing alcohol from 14 really for 10 years of my life, trying to be someone that I wasn't. And it took me a long time to learn that I could love myself. And this is actually like the last photo I ever posted in my drinking years. I was on a work trip in Barcelona, and this was it. You know, a lot of people ask, how do you figure out you need to stop drinking? And you eventually stop drinking, or really anything that's affecting you negatively in your life. Eventually you'll come to a point where you just don't want to go any further. You don't want to see how far it can go, and you get to make that decision at any point. No one else can tell you. I think anxiety, depression, alcoholism, addiction of any sort, it's so personal, and no one would ever be able to see or judge from the outside and tell you when enough is enough, or if you truly have a problem or not. Only you know that for yourself. So this is September 14th, 2015. I had, come to after another night of drinking, and I was going to be going through this round of apologies for stuff I didn't even remember doing. And I just said I was done. I found an English-speaking AA meeting that morning in Barcelona, and I haven't had a sip of alcohol since. Pretty rad. So life got a lot more awesome when I got that out of the way. I remember the journey, even just to get the glimmer that it was going to be better, took a little while. When you make a decision like this, you're usually in a pretty rough spot. You're at your lowest point and you think, God, how will I ever move forward from here? I remember calling my dad, had just, my boyfriend of 4 years had left me. My life was collapsing. I needed to get sober. And I just told him, my life is over. I'm laying on the ground. He's like, Kelsey, get up, unpack one box. It's going to be better than the moment before. I just had to move into a new apartment after the breakup. And he just kept saying, get one more box unpacked. It's going to be better than the moment before. And my entire life has unfolded from that moment into what it is today. So just those one day at a time, one step at a time, and things turned around. And I really got this opportunity to understand what makes Kelsey, Kelsey, and get back to what I love and my passions. And that was back in the kitchen. So I was baking every day while working at Intel. I would go home at night and be making cakes, cupcakes, all things of the sort, bringing them into work quite often. And eventually, like some of you will find, your career paths are by suggestions or nudges. I ended up getting the request to start selling my baked goods. So I had started this company called Monster Baby Bakery, that nickname I told you about. And that was in Oregon. Just got this first glimpse of what it might be like to be an entrepreneur. I'd made a website, I had business cards, and I just absolutely loved seeing people light up with a bite of what I had made. So that kick had started, and then simultaneously I got this opportunity with Intel to move into a new position in the company down in Santa Clara. So I was up in Oregon and got this chance to come down to the Bay Area, and I was more than welcome for a geographical relocation after getting sober. It was nice to kind of get a new view on life and make new friends, and just people who only were going to know the Kelsey that I am today and not have anything else from my past. So still baking like a fiend, and like many of us who moved to San Francisco, you're sort of required to try out this vegan lifestyle for a little bit. I think they put it on the list, when you sign up to get a house in San Francisco, you have to try being vegan for a little. So I was a really awful vegan. So I would be baking without any eggs, but I love butter. And so we'd use butter in the recipes. And with all of my cookie recipes, I realized that these once, just a spoonful here and there became saving half of it to eat raw and the other half to bake. And I'm not the only one that likes cookie dough. So I sort of put my mind around it, and with the entrepreneurial buzz I'd gotten from my Monster Baby baking days, thought, to hell with it, let's see what we can do. And I started Doughp. So this is me on day one, one of my first scoops ever of Doughp cookie dough. And it's 2017 April in San Francisco at Dolores Park. I had gone out and got a little catering cart built for $500 and said, let's see if anyone likes cookie dough like I do. When we sold 50 pounds in 3 hours and sold out, and was just like, okay, I'm on to something. I need to figure out how to get this product out there. And no one really knows all the steps of being an entrepreneur when they first get started, but you get enough confidence there to just keep taking each baby step, and it evolves into what it is today. So we got a kiosk on Market Street. It was 10 by 10, but I finally had, something physical. It was a real spot to send people to. And from there, got a spot on Pier 39. It's such a grind being an entrepreneur. Like they said, these ups and downs. I always say, you could look at a 7-day forecast of an entrepreneur's life, and it's crying, it's over, this is the worst decision I ever had. And then the next day is I'm on top of the world, I totally am doing what I'm supposed to do. And then the next day you're sobbing again, or it's just craziness. But we sign up for it, and I see the bigger vision of where I'm going, and it's worth it. But I look back at days like this is me taking all of the ingredients on the BART over to Oakland to a commercial kitchen where I'd make all the cookie dough for the week, BART it back over to San Francisco and sell it for 7 days. Big ups to my mom if she ever sees this video, because she used to come and meet me in the kitchen on Sundays and help me make the cookie dough. So my first 100 pounds, before I knew what a food service container was, I used to store it in Ziploc bags because that made sense. And this is our shop on Pier 39. No more Ziploc bags. Sorry, we don't sell it, pack it up like that. Yeah, pretty amazing. I went to Pier 39 as a kid, and to have my creation living there and being a part of other child's memories is a pretty awesome thing. We've got 6 flavors on display, kind of like an ice cream bar style, but it's all cookie dough. We'd scoop it up, top it up, whatever you'd like, and then we partnered with Big House Beans. They're an East Bay coffee roaster. They help people coming out of incarceration get back on their feet, so coffee with purpose in our storefront too. Decided to wrap a little bit more purpose into the company. In 2018, we launched the Doughp for Hope initiative. Like I mentioned, after getting sober, it was really the impetus to get my life together and figure out what I want to do and create Doughp. So Doughp for Hope raises awareness around mental health and addiction. We've got a pledge that people can sign online. We've got a mental health policy for our employees. If anyone's an employer out there, I'd love to chat with you about your mental health policy at your company. We offer 2 mental health days per employee, no questions asked. While this isn't different than a sick day, it gives them the opportunity to call me and say, I'm having an anxiety attack, or I'm really just not okay today, instead of coughing and pretending to be sick. So we have this really amazing open dialogue that gets to happen at a company instead of forcing everyone to pretend like they're all right all the time. We also donate to nonprofits. There's a ton of nonprofits doing amazing stuff in this space, so I didn't need to recreate the wheel. I just wanted to help the wheel move faster. So we donate 100% of proceeds from our Doughp for Hope flavor to a different nonprofit every 6 months. I'm sure you guys have read this while I've been chatting, but this is kind of like my letter to customers. We wrote this as the manifesto for the company, and we really want people to just, love themselves. You deserve sweetness no matter what you've been through, and definitely encourage them to lick the spoon. We've rolled this out in our Las Vegas storefront, which I'll talk a little bit more about, but we've got our Doughp for Hope pledge set up in the store, and all of our staff across the company now is mental health certified. So they can both, between employees themselves and customers that are coming into our storefronts, better recognize signs of suicide risk, anxiety, or depression. This is the Las Vegas store. It's, yeah. It's so cool. I wanted to go to Las Vegas because I said, you know what, if I'm on this mission to show that you can have fun without alcohol and you can enjoy yourself and, let's rise above addiction, what if I went to Las Vegas? We're in Sin City, everyone's overindulging all the time. How about you have some cookie dough instead of indulging in some other treats? We also have a full mocktail bar, so you can get an alcohol-free cocktail, and an espresso bar there as well. So trying to really create these cookie dough bar environments. These alcohol bottles you see in there are filled with Mike and Ike's and lemon heads and stuff. So kind of a fun spin on it, and Vegas was just the perfect spot for that. You can almost see it in the bottom left, but we also put in a Doughp dealer vending machine. So it's a cookie dough vending machine. You can see little poker chips coming down the front of it. And that's right in our storefront, so people can get cookie dough 24/7. So when you start something, I was leaving a very comfortable job at Intel to start a cookie dough company. Literally everyone thought I was insane, my dad included. My brother was like, yeah, good luck, she's going through a phase. Okay, hold on till she comes back to life. But it's a real thing. This crazy idea is a real thing. We went from $150,000 in revenue in 2017, did $1 million in 2018, and we're on track to do $3 million this year. In cookie dough, it's so cool. We've got our storefront, Pier 39. We sell in Oracle Park if you ever go catch a game there. And then now we have our Vegas storefront. But it's all to help fuel an e-commerce business. We ship the dough nationwide. So if you've got any family members elsewhere, you can ship it out to them. We've made more than 125,000 pounds of cookie dough. That's a lot of cookie dough, thanks to our partner, The Bread Project. It's a nonprofit kitchen who has mixed up all of our cookie dough since July of 2017. They're a job training program for low-income individuals trying to get back on their feet. Cookie dough is not terribly difficult to make, but I got a kick-ass recipe. Sorry for cursing in front of the kids. And they can make it for us and do a little good in the world. So they're an awesome nonprofit to be supporting. Also, hopefully there's a few more than this. We just crossed 8,000 followers on Instagram, so check us out at Eat Doughp. We're pretty fun, and I do a lot of Instagram lives and stuff. So what can you guys take away from this? So I think one big thing is it's hard to recognize when you're in it, but those life-crashing moments, and a lot of you who are young aren't there yet, but when you get there, when you just feel like, oh my gosh, everything is over, my life is ending, get super excited, because it's about to get awesome. Just get excited. Any amazing transformative change in your life comes from those lowest points. Anyone I talk to, you hear from them, it's like, 6 months earlier, and they're saying that it's just never going to come together, their life's falling apart, and 6 months later, there's so many reasons why what happened was exactly what was supposed to happen. So consider taking adversity as that great fork in the road where you can do something amazing. Take risks or be bored forever. I think it's so easy to just say what that perfect job is, or I just need to go to this college, or I just need to go do this because it's what I should do. That's super easy. So if you want to be bored, you should do it. Like, just go ahead and keep on the straight and narrow, follow what you think you're supposed to be doing. But if you're intrigued by anything else, or you've got some crazy idea in your head, give it a try. And I think a lot of you will look at me and say, well, you're, 20-something. Do you have any kids? No. Do you have a mortgage? No. Okay, well then it's easy for you to take risk. And maybe risk-taking runs in my family, but this is my grandpa, and many, many, many years back, he had a career choice ahead of him with 4 young children and a mortgage, to take a position as a VP at IBM, or to go to a very little-known, brand-new thing in the space race, crazy thing that was coming out, to work at what was a cow farm in Houston, a company called NASA was starting. No one had really ever heard of it back then. It was just getting going. Kennedy was announcing all this stuff, and he took a risk and he joined it, even with everything else, all the baggage he had and how scary it could have been. He joined, and he was the head of public affairs and the voice of the astronauts for the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo missions. And 12 years later, on his birthday, a man landed on the moon for the first time. Pretty amazing. Paul Haney, this dude. So my grandpa, me, cookie dough, NASA, what if you just chose joy over everything? What if you made sure that there was passion in everything you were doing? And if there's anything in your life that isn't sparking joy, get it out and figure out what you love and find a way to make it your life every single day. So I got 5 pro tips for y'all to walk away with. This is pro tips if you're going out and you're going to make your entrepreneur dreams come true. I think these are the 5 things that have made me as successful as I've been in the last 2 years, and there's a lot more to come for Doughp. 1, operate as if success is inevitable. I got a no from 5 very powerful people on Shark Tank in September of last year when we filmed. I didn't pause negotiations with Miracle Mile. I went to every meeting like I still had my investor. I still had the money to open this $600,000 store. I didn't have anything. I had like 150 grand in the bank with Doughp, but I operated as if I was gonna figure it out. And with that energy and that passion, the right person was attracted, and we found an investor 2 months later and closed the deal and opened the store. So if you move forward so convinced that your dream is gonna come true, it really does. Number 2, stay focused on what makes you different. It's very easy to get distracted. I think someone in the panel before me mentioned this, I constantly get emails of you guys should try doing this or you should try doing that. Know what you're good at and do it really well. As a company, figure out what your unique differentiator is and stick to it. As far as getting it all done, you will learn very quickly you can't do it all yourself. I had 7 days straight where I was working an event every single day, and then the 8th day came and I had no events the next week, and I was like, uh-oh, I need to hire some help because I won't have any business if I don't hire so that I can keep growing it. So hire for what you suck at. Get an accountant if accounting is not your thing. My time is so much better spent out growing the business and doing business development for Doughp than it is trying to do bookkeeping. That's just not gonna be my expertise. I'm not saying I'm not smart enough to figure it out one day, but I'll be a lot more impactful for the company if I know what I'm good at and I focus there. So hire for what you suck at. Never say no to an introduction. I've actually heard this from outside sources before as some feedback for me that I'm really good at just asking other people for help, and I think it's so important to just drop the ego. I have no qualms of telling someone yo, I don't know anything about this area. Could we get coffee and you could share me what you know? People are so friendly. I came from working on processor chips. Now I sell chocolate chips and cookie dough. I had no idea how to run a food service business, but there are a lot of people out there who do. And whatever you're doing, there's probably somebody out there who knows a little bit of the right thing that you need to figure out. So never say no to an introduction. Somebody else can help you take the next step. And number 5, be a good human. I think with the Doughp for Hope initiative, the craziest thing is how often, like in an interview or something, a news reporter's like, oh, I wish more companies did this, or it's so wild how you're doing this. And I wish other companies did this too. I wish it wasn't so crazy that I have this sort of philanthropic arm to my company. I think when you build something, consider how you can build it for more than just yourself. And in every decision you make, consider being a good human, do good business, and be a good person. Ethics in your company matter a lot, not just to you, to your employees who need to respect you, and to customers who need to keep coming back. So you guys can check this out. We got eatdoughp.com if you want to eat some. We'll be giving away a couple at the social that's going on later. For those of you who want to come up and ask a question or whatnot, I did smuggle some jars in here with me. And then follow us at Eat Doughp. And lastly, I just want to dedicate this presentation to my Nana. She passed away 2 years ago at 21 years sober. And she got to see me at a year sober. So I know one of my last visits to see her before she passed was watching Shark Tank together. And she would be so proud to have seen me on that show. And I know she was up there watching with a big bowl of cookie dough. So this is for Nana.